Good afternoon, guys. We are online. My name is Milena, and today I invite you to practice a little bit with the negative prefixes. Negative prefixes and prefixes and suffixes in general are one of the most challenging vocabulary issues for English language learners. So today we're going to work a little bit and have some hands-on experience with the negative prefixes. We will learn some words and do some exercises. Our work today is an interactive work, so you will need some writing materials. You will need some paper or a notebook, a pen or a pencil. Me and my beautiful colleague Olga will share a presentation with you and show you different slides with rules, with words, with exercises, and I hope by the end of our webinar you will be a real negative prefixes expert and you will never feel negative about them. Actually, I hope you will feel very positive about them. Let's get started. Okay, I hope you see my screen, and today we are going to have some positive experience about negative prefixes. What is the difference between prefix im and ir, or between dis and mis? Today we will try to understand that, and especially what is important, we will have our hands-on experience with them. So let's begin. The prefix un. It's the most common negative prefix in English, we must say. It actually comes from the Old English. And if you are in doubt, of course, probably the best one to try is prefix un. Even words originally coming from Latin in English are negated with un. Of course, we have to be careful and always check with the dictionary, but you will see that un is a very common prefix. For example, not friendly, not fashionable, not able, or not helpful. Of course, you use un with those words. Like, my classmates are unfriendly to me because I'm unhelpful. But I'm just unable to help unfashionable people, tells my little presenter here on the slide. So let's study some useful un words. Unbelievable. I think this is one of the most famous words, and you use them quite often, especially right now when there are so many sensations, so many beautiful pictures everywhere, and so on, and so many nice experiences. The same you can say about something which you cannot imagine, unimaginable. Unprofessional is another word very commonly used. Uncertain, it's when you're not sure about something. Unknown, unaware, it's when you don't realize something, you don't fully understand something. Unproductive, it's a very professional word as well. You can describe any process with that. Untruthful, something which is unrealistic as well. Unreliable. Oh, I'm afraid of this type of people. Unreliable people are the worst. Those are the people you cannot ask anything from. Unworthy is another nice word. You can meet it quite often. Uninspiring and unhelpful. So those are some of those words. Of course, it's just impossible to work with all of them or give you a full list. But from time to time, it's just nice to practice and have a look at some of them. So let's practice. I hope you remember some of them. We just need to use the correct word instead of the gap over here. Well, when you say, I don't know him at all, you must say he is I can't imagine this. It's and you use the necessary word. It doesn't inspire me, it is. He's not professional. He's what then? You can never rely on her. I can't believe it. He's not certain about this. So, of course, all the words are like that. They are using the prefix on. He's unknown. It's unimaginable. It's uninspiring. It's unprofessional. She's unreliable. It's unbelievable. He's uncertain. Okay, very nice. That was easy. Let's move on. Another prefix, which is very famous, is in. In, or variations of this prefix, il, im, ir, they all mean not. This prefix comes from Latin, and there is an interesting and helpful algorithm to notice. In often changes into il before l, into im before b, m, or p, and into ir before r. Oh, of course, we all remember irregular verbs. These changes are applied just to make the pronunciation easier. So, speaking about some useful in words, let's have a look at them. Insecure is when the person doesn't feel safe and is not confident, actually. Inflexible, invisible, insufficient. For example, when you don't have enough of something, insufficient amount of money. Incorrect, that is easy one. Invalid. For example, we all know invalid data in our computers, for example. Indefinite, inaccurate, inadequate, insignificant, when something is unimportant. Indifferent, when you don't care profoundly. And independent, that is the issue that we're all concerned about. Okay, so now we will have to practice. We'll look back at those two prefixes on and in, and you will need to choose the correct one for each sentence. Look, the presidential speech was truthful or untruthful? Your answer is untruthful. That is correct. The subject is insignificant or insignificant? Yes, you're right. It is insignificant. Your pullover is unfashionable or unfashionable? Of course, it is unfashionable. Your data is invalid or invalid? Of course, it's invalid. The amount on your card is insufficient or insufficient? It's insufficient. Looking at this man, we can understand that. My day was unproductive or unproductive? What about your day, Ola? Was your day unproductive or unproductive?
It was very productive.
Actually, it was very productive for me as well. But just for the matter of correct vocabulary, and if it was bad, your day, you can say my day was unproductive. And finally, my new boss is unflexible or inflexible? What about you, your boss?
Quite flexible and nice.
Yes, that is so nice. But we need to use some negative experience. For example, my new boss is very inflexible, as you can see from this portrait. Okay, very nice. I hope it was useful for you and you have a nice memory of at least some words, and we continue. Speaking about im, well, you remember the algorithm that in becomes im before b, m, and p. Now it's your turn to create some negative words, the opposites. Possible, probable, perfect, patient, precise, and mature. When you want to make the opposite, you normally say, this is impossible or improbable, imperfect, impatient, imprecise, and immature. Hope this was easy. Let's try with another set of words. Polite, moral, mortal, movable, material, balanced. Well, of course, the algorithm is clear. Impolite, immoral, immortal, immovable, immaterial, and imbalanced. Well, it's time to practice. Now your job is to use one of the im words. This cannot be done. This is, and you continue. The next one, number 3, there is no perfection. Number 4, there is no balance in my diet. You know, cappuccinos, coffees, donuts. That is incredible. Your son is so rude. Number 5. Number 6, a very spiritual one. Your soul can't die. So, of course, we must say, when something cannot be done, this is impossible. When you don't want to wait, it means you are impatient. When there is no perfection, it's just imperfect. When there is no balance, it's just imbalanced. When somebody is rude, he's just impolite. And if somebody cannot die, he or she or it's immortal. Very nice, guys. I hope you remembered those. And we move on into some more negative prefixes. The next variation is ill, negative prefix ill, that usually comes before l. There are not so many examples of this one, but some of them are as follows. It's against the law. You can't read and write. There is no logic in your answers. And I can't read these. So those are definitions for which words? When it's against the law, it's illegal. When a person cannot read and write, this person is illiterate. When there is no logics, it's just illogical. And when you cannot read something because it's unclear, you say it's illegible. I hope it was easy. And finally, negative prefix ear. Ear is normally used before r, not all the time, but in many cases. For example, you remember, unreliable is unreliable. You don't say irreliable. But of course, there are many words that use ear. For example, let's learn some irregular verbs. I can't trust him because he is irresponsible. This information is irrelevant to our case. Her beauty was irresistible. And your behavior is irrational. Those are some useful examples of ear prefix. Let's move on. One more important word, irreparable, something that cannot be repaired. You can say we occurred irreparable damages. It's another one. Oh, excuse me. So right now we need to use all the previous information that we have just heard, and we will try to choose the correct prefix. Be attentive because there are different ones, maybe on or in or ill or in. I don't know. You are experts. It's your turn to decide. So my grandfather just couldn't stop smoking. Your answer doesn't make sense. Yeah, number 3. There was damage because of divorce. Number 4. The drivers just don't learn the rules, they don't know them. And number 5, you just can't park your car here. And number 6, excuse me, there is no number. There are different types of routes. There is the direct route and there is the opposite of direct route. So it's your job to use the correct prefix, guys. Have a look at them, those words. And we're going to check in a minute. Well, I'm pretty sure it was easy for you to identify that my grandfather found it impossible to stop smoking. And actually, I'm sure that your answer was totally logical to the previous sentence. But in sentence number 2, you need to say illogical. Number 3, the damage, of course, was irreparable. Number 4, the drivers are unaware. Of course, it is illegal to park cars here. And the route was indirect. It's normal. Normally, indirect routes are slower than direct ones. Shall we move on? So, speaking about prefixes dis and mis, those are also quite challenging and they have slightly different meanings. Well, speaking about dis, normally dis gives a verb the opposite meaning. For example, disappear. It also has the meaning not only the opposite, but it has the meaning of separation. For example, disappear, it means it's contrary. It's something that cannot appear. It's invisible. You don't see it. It's out of appearance. The same as to disagree. I'm out of agreement. Disorganized. I'm separate from organizations. Disorganized person. Yes, there is no organization in this person's life, and so on. Well, speaking about mis normally means badly or wrongly. Badly, for example, misbehave, to behave badly, or wrongly, for example, misunderstand, to understand wrongly. Well, we will try to have a look at some words, typical words with dis and mis. Well, you normally say dislike or disagree. That is quite famous. Disorganized. Also discontinue, it means to stop doing something, or to stop documents, to stop contracts, to discontinue the contract. To distrust, when you don't trust the person anymore, the person is actually separated from your trust, is out of your trust. Disuse, disinfect, that is clear, to separate from infection, to remove the infection. Disloyal, when the person doesn't have loyalty. Or disobey, when the person doesn't obey your instructions, doesn't listen to you, and actually does what he or she wishes. Speaking about the prefixes dis and mis, there are many verbs that can take both of them, but of course there is a slight difference in the meaning, and we're going to see some examples of that. Well, first of all, misspell, to spell wrongly. Misplace, to put in a wrong place, right? To misunderstand, when you don't understand somebody correctly. To mislead, when you give the wrong way, when the person can actually misinterpret what you're saying. Mistrust. You see, distrust, it means there is no trust. Mistrust, it means that the trust was given, we can say, to a wrong person. Yes. Or again, there is a lack of trust. Misuse, to use wrongly, to use in a different way, not according to purposes. A mistake. It's also a very famous word, and with this one, we never make a mistake. To mispronounce, again, to pronounce wrongly, to misbehave, to behave in a wrong way. Misbehave is a little bit like disobey. Well, looking at those examples, I hope it is clear the difference between dis and mis, and you can see in those examples that dis, it means to stop, to put somebody out of something, like dislike, disagree, and so on. And mis, it means wrongly or badly. So now your job is to choose mis or dis using your previous knowledge. I will project you a little bit of sentences. Your job is to use the correct prefix. Okay, guys, finish up. Finish your last ones. And we are going to check. Well, the first one, misunderstand. Number 2, foreigners often mispronounce street names in Kiev. Number 3, disqualified. Number 4, misleading speech. Number 5, and this is true for me, I have always disliked February. What about you, Ola?
I actually like it.
You see, my colleague is not so negative, but me, I'm very negative about this month. So I disliked it. Is there actually any month that you dislike?
No, I guess not.
You see, she doesn't need negative prefixes. Maybe she just doesn't like using the words with prefixes. Number 6, the old car was all rusty from what? From disuse. Yes, because it was not used for a long time. Number 7, there are a lot of words in English that I tend to misspell. But luckily, spell checkers help all of us nowadays. And number 8, your child misbehaves and disobeys our instructions. That is why we suspend him from school. Okay, guys, I hope your answers were correct and you didn't make any mistake and there was no any misunderstanding about those rules. And we continue. One that is practically it with our presentation. I want to be back to the studio and yes, I'm back. And I hope this experience was quite positive for you. And I just wanted to tell you that, of course, we didn't cover all the possibilities or all the algorithms of vocabulary, of negative prefixes. But my general recommendation to you while learning vocabulary and while learning the word formation, the word building, is the following. First of all, read a lot. That is important. And whenever you encounter a new word and you open the dictionary, I kindly ask you to check also for related words, because it's important to remember to memorize each negative prefix as a separate, as a new word, because it's unlike Russian or Ukrainian language when you just attach something like гарний, не гарний, when you just attach ne to the word and it becomes negative. In English language, it works slightly differently. So work with the dictionary, check the related words and try to learn all of them as separate words. And good luck with learning English. I hope to see you some other time in our webinars. Have a nice day.